on, don't
All right, so let's start by taking roll. Sonia Gallant, absent. Lelia Langto,
we? Present.
Hillary Culhane, present. Carol Goldberg,
Present.
and Rich Storick is absent. So it's Thursday, October 23rd. And I'd like to ask if there's any public comment on matters which are not on the agenda. If there's anybody zooming in. Okay. Next is the planning staff's oral report.
And I don't have anything to report for you.
I have a question for you. People ask me all the time about Lucky Market.
It's a popular question. I don't have any information on what's going on. I know they put it on the market a couple months ago. It may have been sold, but we haven't heard from anybody with specifics about it.
So they put that section of the,
Yeah, it's not the entire
Complex.
shopping center.
I
Lucky's
see.
owns, you can think of it kind of as a pie shape of the property. So they don't own the shopping. There's a rectangle where the strip mall is, so to speak, and then kind of a square where the gas station is. And then the Lucky's property is basically everything else.
oh, it is, parking lot included.
Yeah, I mean, the gas station has a few parking spaces, the strip mall has a few parking
Mhm.
spaces, but the majority is what belongs to Lucky's.
And there's been no interest.
No, I think there's been plenty of interest.
Oh.
It's just Albertsons has been, shopping the property. So I imagine there'll be news on it in the next 6 months, but I think people are doing a lot of due diligence right now.
Okay. Is it for sale or for lease?
I believe it's for sale.
People have been talking about that it would be housing. Is that an option?
It's on the city's housing element as a space for housing. The details about, it could be used for housing, if they want to use the city's housing element to kind of have a more straightforward approval process, they have to create a new grocery store on the lot. So
Mhm.
it may be people don't want to do that. I've had calls from various groups and it's kind of a mix of wanting to do retail or housing or both. Or right now, it's all just kind of theoretical.
Mhm.
Any other questions for staff?
Mhm.
Nope. Okay. All right, so let's move on to public hearing on 295 Magnolia.
Yeah, I just have a real brief report for you here, a presentation together. This is ELN 25015 295 Magnolia. It's just down the street here. It's Backstage Wine is the first story, and then there's residences above it, and the owner of the property wants to install a new awning out front. They currently have, I don't know if you saw on your way in, but they've got this white easy up, so they want a more permanent solution. I think it would be 532 square feet, if I remember correctly. And then here's the plans that they provided, this yellow outline that you can't really see on the overhead. Could be the footprint of the awning. And then they've got a diagram bit here. So basically from the face of the building to the low stone wall. And as it said in the report, the structure is not on the inventory, but none of the structures on the property are on the inventory. They were built only maybe 10 years ago now, but it is within the downtown district. So it does require a recommendation to the planning commission. So to that end, staff recommends that you take public comment, discuss, and forward a recommendation of approval to the planning commission. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Did you have any public comment come into the city?
No, no public comment. The owner or representative said they would be here, but it looks like they had not made it quite yet.
I read through and I looked at the plans and I walked around. I just had one question, maybe I missed it. Do we know what color the awning is going to be?
So my understanding is it's going to be a similar color to like the gray dark tones that
Oh,
are
okay.
there now.
Okay.
But I mean, as a part of your, I don't know that it's been a second since I've looked at the materials to make sure it's definitely in there, but you could, as a part of your recommendation, say you think it should be whatever color you.
But is color an element in the downtown district and is something people
Yeah, no,
need
that's,
to adhere to?
I don't. I think the downtown specific plan has some language about using earth tone colors and things like that, but it's appraised as guidelines, it's not like a strict requirement. But because it's a design review application, it's all, eligible to be discussed, and certainly the planning commission will, have which say on color, so. But like I said, my understanding from speaking with them is it's a dark color, I just don't have the specs.
Okay, so as long as it's not like the current easy up white tint. That is such a glaring white that they have now currently.
Yeah, it would.
Okay. Thoughts?
I
Well,
certainly think it would be an improvement over what's there. And I think it's perfectly fine. I've looked at the materials too.
And it's temporary.
Yeah.
So in other words, if for some reason in the future would that be a caveat that if it doesn't look good or they, I guess we can't really rescind our approval, right? Like, once we approve it, it's approved.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
it'll come before design review, and do they do a little more on color and blending in?
Yeah, that would be one of the, probably the main point, the size and the color would be a major point of discussion.
Yeah. Well, given that the building, I remember when that was part of the Costello property, that acre of land that was there. So that building itself isn't that old. And as you come into town, it's there on the left, so it's very visible. But as you're heading southbound, it butts right up against a sort of a redwood grove that's on the Costello property. So you wouldn't even really see that awning until you're actually passing by it. So I don't know that it affects the visual aspect of the historic district, especially if you're coming up Magnolia past St. Pat's. I don't think it would have much of an impact, really.
I would agree, it's not something that catches my eye going up and down the road
Yeah.
many times.
Now, if it were some garish color, that would be a different story.
Use a pink or something.
Yeah.
Uh,
But it seems like they want something more earth toned and muted, so that would be, I think, a good
Yes,
recommendation.
I
Okay.
think that would be a good recommendation in case they're thinking chartreuse or something.
Exactly.
And I'm
That's
assuming there's a
people's
fire
attention.
pit in there too, so I'm assuming, they said that the materials would be fire retardant, but with the little fire pit underneath it, I guess it's high enough, so it's not going to be an issue, or?
Yeah, the lowest point would be, I think it's 8 foot, 8 inches above grade, and they still, that's one of the details they're working on with the fire department, is just ensuring that the fabric is
Good.
actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there's an actual standardized code that these fabrics have to meet, so the fire department would verify, or is verifying compliance.
Okay, so that's not under our purview, really, it's.
It would just fall under standard fire code review.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, if there's any other comment, otherwise I think we make a motion.
I know there's nobody in the audience, but you should technically open.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well,
Anyone
I
in the
shouldn't say
audience?
nobody in the audience, that's,
Well, there's no one on video either.
yeah.
Right. Okay, so-
Comment? No.
No public comment, and the owner's not here. So I guess we proceed to making a motion.
Well, I'll move that we approve the plans for the new awning at 295 Magnolia Avenue.
Contingent that the color design is muted and earth
Compatible.
tone, yeah, compatible.
Is a good word.
Yes.
With other buildings surrounding
Did we get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, all three of us.
Right.
Okay,
Motion passed. Thank you.
all right, so moving on to the business items. This is the meat of the meeting tonight.
You want
Um,
to Sit up there,
I just wondered,
How about
Alex,
up here?
is there-
It makes it easier since I never wear my glasses. It makes me easier to see
Yeah.
things. Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna grab your chair.
I got it.
Got it?
Alex, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
If there are a couple things that, that we want to bring up that aren't on the agenda, just a couple of updates. I wonder is, like, the city hall charrette, for example, do we wait till after?
Yeah, I was looking at
Business
the
item.
agenda. I realized I didn't include your standard board member reports at the end, so I don't really see the harm in discussing updates and things like that.
After Marilyn's presentation? Okay,
So everybody here has had the opportunity to see the 5 markers that were installed. And I thought Public Works did a fine job. I think the locations are good. We've had very positive feedback. And so,
Marilyn, could I just mention that they had to be ADA compliant too?
Right,
So
for
someone in a
wheelchairs.
Wheelchair and
yeah.
all that, so it all worked.
So once we had those before you, last winter, Lily and I had talked about the next 5. And so I was working on that, and this summer I spent a little bit of time, and I asked Alex to send you copies of what I've come up with. And I'm here for input. If there's anything you find should be changed, if you think I just want to throw it open. It isn't like I'm wedded to what I came up with. Basically, I used Larkspur past and present as the basis for the 5 markers and photos that I was aware of. And I tried to put in 500 words or less what, in my estimation, was it, if you wanted the viewer of the marker to read. There is other information about these locations, and you might have a different opinion. There might be something you want to have included that I didn't include. So go ahead and tear away at it, you know?
first of all, thank you for doing this, Marilyn. This is so, I mean, I read Larkspur past and present, but there's something about really linking it to a site and now having seen the first 5 plaques, I can visualize just standing there reading it. And it's such a great addition to Larkspur to have these, so.
I agree, really well done.
Thank you.
And I think people can read them and reread them every time they go by
Yeah.
almost.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll get tired of reading them, but
yeah.
they're well written.
And just so we get it in the record, I know there was discussion before this meeting about the QR code.
Yes.
So maybe we could add some ideas. Carol, you were talking about.
Yeah, a couple things. I mean, QR code goes nowhere right now. It's a blank page, so we
Oh, it
obviously.
really is.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. And, but what would be nice is if we could have a map that goes to it to show where each of the markers are. So someone like myself, when I was walking it the other day, I was like, oh, I wonder where the next one is. I want to find it.
Oh,
So you
good
can
idea.
kind of figure out where they are.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Alex, is there someone on city staff that could make that happen?
Yeah, you're speaking. Certainly, I do need to get the QR code page up and running, so I appreciate the reminder. That's something I can explore in the coming weeks.
Can you do the map too? Or-
That one would, I can figure something out. I can't promise it will be the most stunning map you've ever seen, but
Well, even if you list where they all are.
yeah, I think it'd be pretty easy to use Google Maps as a baseline.
That's what I think, and then
Pin
just
them on there.
put a key and then,
Yeah,
1,
but-
2, 3 and what the signs
If
are.
there's a more creative
Mhm.
solution, I could certainly explore that.
Because they do have a title, if that helps.
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
we have a number of the.
What would be nice if on the map, if you like clicked on Baltimore Canyon, just for example, if it also sent you to this page, so if you're looking at home, oh, I want to go back and see what I saw, you could see each of them.
What I was hoping would be possible, and I'm not a QR code person at all. I know how to create one because I did a Google search and I found out how to create one, but that's the extent of my knowledge. I had thought that when they were created, it would be great both to have a map, as you've suggested, and also if it would be possible to send you to the page in Larkspur past and present where this information is contained. Now, I happen to have a copy of Larkspur past and present on a flash drive, but I realize, as I say this, that I've never looked to see if it is on the city website, a link to the book, the actual book. Can you get at the book from the Heritage site?
Believe so, maybe.
So, whenever I want to look anything up, I just put my flash drive in and I have it. So,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can, there's a page for Larkspur past and
and
present.
does it actually take you to the book so that you
Yeah,
can read the book
It's
online?
divided into sets of 3 chapters, so it's not like all one big
Okay.
PDF.
If there's any way
Okay.
to link it to the pages where that information, like about the Rose Bowl, is on pages, 50 and 51, if it would be possible to pop you to the first page, I think that'd be really great. But I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm going to be learning how to do. I'll let somebody else who,
And I'm not sure if Larkspur past and present is still for sale anywhere.
I don't think it
I mean,
is.
I think we've run out.
The only way you can get one is probably over Amazon, as we spoke,
Oh, maybe a used book, but
but
that's a whole other topic.
that's another topic.
Publishing, but certainly if it's online, it would be great.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice if people were able to link to the more information, the ones
Yeah.
who want more
Yeah.
information,
It'd be great.
it would be there.
So 2 types of links, then one map for other sites besides the one that the person is standing in front of, and then a link to more in-depth information.
I created a map, just arbitrarily doing a Google search on maps, and I've created a couple of them now for Julie and Public Works. Well, I actually created one when we had the first discussion about this 4 years ago and sent it out. I took I did a print screen on a map. Unfortunately, a lot of the maps have business names on them that you can't, that's an issue. So you need to find a map that doesn't have business names on it. And then what I did is I just used the software I have to put a little dot and arrow to that location of where the marker would be approximately. And that's what I sent to Julia Skinner before we met to give him an idea of where we were thinking of installing the first 5 and now this next 5.
We met with Julia a week or so ago, and he could run a map all over the computer and on a screen.
Yeah, he had the city map with all the
And
locations.
so, because he needs to know if there are pipes or
Oh, yeah, of course,
electricity or
under.
what's underneath.
Yeah.
That's why he's key to
And when we had
making approval.
when we met with him, he said these 5 locations would be okay, but the one at Remillard is under control of DCDC because it's within
By the bay.
100 feet of the shoreline.
What is in control of what?
DCDC,
What's BCDC?
Bay Conservation and Development Commission.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
big organization that has to do.
but he
the
didn't
whole
think there
Bay
would,
Area.
he didn't think there would be a problem, but it would have to meet with their approval to put it
Okay.
on the bay side from Remillard.
Right.
And
And the road goes out.
so it would be
towards the
there on
bridge.
the pathway there, and it would be on the pathway looking at
Yeah.
the brick kiln
Yeah.
stack,
Yeah.
but that's within BCDC.
I can't imagine they would object to that.
No, that's what he said.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple of them. he
They
said
let
that-
Sir Francis Drake statue be there, so
There we go.
for a while.
But the only other issues is making sure, like the one in Piper Park, is the main line for the sewer for Larkspur is in that general location.
I
And
did
there's
not
a
know
main
that.
line that goes also at Sir Francis Drake. He mentioned that they have to make sure is not at that location. He didn't think it'd be an issue, but they still have to get out and make sure.
Market.
And we aren't gonna bust up the main line of the sewer. So, anyway, I guess what I'm looking for are reactions to the 5 that I sent you. And if you have looked at them and looked at
Yeah,
the book
I did.
and said, oh yeah, this is the right information to include, and you like the photos
I
and,
love the photos.
okay.
Yeah.
And is the composition, okay, everything is.
I like the quote, and
Okay.
that, you know, I love, to me, that just like really
Yeah.
snags your interest right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
They'll match the font, right, with the existing.
Well, what I did is I changed it to be the font they used on the first 5, it was Times New Roman.
Okay, okay,
And then the top one was like Arial or Arial.
okay, so it'll be consistent with the,
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
current 5,
and what I
okay.
did on this version, I didn't have the software I was using, which is a freeware form of Word. I didn't have the option to use a sepia background, and it didn't look like I could create a color, I couldn't figure out how.
Mhm.
So I used a light gray color, and the other ones were a sepia color, and I decided not to try to bother putting the color across the top with the title, because I figured they'd do that, and they know which color that is, and I don't know
Yeah.
what color
Yeah.
it is. So, that didn't seem important to me for me to do, because they'd change it anyway.
and KBO that did the first 5, I talked with them. The second 5 would be the same price.
Really?
Yeah.
They'll keep the same price?
Yes, so.
Good.
Expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
but
But still,
Yeah.
Everything
but-
else
but
has
it's-
gone up in that time.
Yes, yeah. So I thought that was a plus.
Yeah.
so we're talking like
Oh,
20,000?
$20,595.11.
Okay, and we
So
have
a
that
little
money,
over
Yeah, just so
20,000.
for reference, I think the remaining account balance is around 23,000, so it would cover it. And then any further plaques would typical community fundraising, I believe.
Mhm.
And I would like to suggest in that regard, there's about $26,000 in the Larkspur Community Foundation money fund for the history fund that was started by Helen High Camp, and then those of us who donated have designated money for that use. It might be a good idea, since we're naming the Larkspur Community Foundation on these, is that we cap at least some of that money
Mhm.
In
at
other
this
words, get
point,
them to
even though
pay
there
some
might
of
be
them.
enough.
That would be
Yeah.
Yeah,
great idea.
At
Yes.
least we cap 5,000, some amount,
Mhm.
whatever amount you decide from that, just to make
I
sure.
think that's a really good point, and maybe do that now before we order this next 5.
Well, I
So that
asked,
way we keep some of our heritage,
Great.
our 23,000.
So maybe we need a motion for,
oh, wait a second,
One of
let me
us to
tell you
contact
more.
them.
See if I got it.
On that board.
I thought I had an
I
email here
don't
that I
know,
brought.
it's interesting. Well, Joan Lindstrom,
She's on
Here's what I got from
Please.
I'm quoting from Molly Woodrich. She's the treasurer for the
Oh,
Community
okay.
Foundation. As of October 13, the balance in the Larkspur History Fund was $26,496.37. I can either reimburse one of you, or if you send me the invoice, I can pay the fabricator directly. So.
I think it might be good to use that money, or ask them to use it for the full price.
And, so we could, it's up to the board to decide how you want to handle that, but she said she could reimburse one of you, really me, because I. Or I could send the invoice and we can pay the fabricator directly, so I'm
Okay.
assuming they could also reimburse the cities if they could reimburse one of us, so I'll just
Okay.
throw all of that out.
So it's a matter of the board approving the use of this money, or how does this historical fund?
So I don't think you need to form, like, I think at the staff, I've heard the direction that you want to spend this money, it's within the city manager's spending authority. With regards to the potential community foundation grant, I'd have to talk with the city manager about how that would be structured. It may be cleaner to just have KVO invoice two separate amounts to the two entities.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we maybe need like the city council to make a formal acceptance of a gift. But I can check on that, and let you know.
All right,
That'd be great.
but
Yeah,
at least
that's-
know we have the money.
Yeah, that's great. I had no idea there was a history
I
fund there.
knew Helen had started that, but I didn't know how much it was. That's.
Well, I've been adding, several of us have been, including Helen's son, have been adding to it every year, so. Another thing that goes, piece of information about that is that Lilia and I were told by Joan Lundstrom, who helped start the community foundation, that she and I were in charge of the history fund.
Oh,
You two are.
Yes, that's, we
I
were
just
just,
found that out.
we were told when we were at my house having
Oh, really?
talking about it, she said, well, you and Lily are in charge of that money. And I said, oh, we are.
I just thought that meant we asked them for it.
Well, it is,
Yeah,
but then Molly said, we were reviewing our fiscal sponsor agreements and we couldn't find a signed agreement with Larkspur History Fund for our holding funds for you. And it's sort of like, no, you're holding fund, anyway. So I asked her how we would do that,
Great.
and I hadn't heard back from her, so it's sort of like, those funds are there to be tapped really for heritage projects, and however we can make them happen, however the city wants to make them happen.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
so
So
it might
it's,
be good to take from both sources,
I
so
think
that we
so.
have extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Don't
think so,
deplete
too.
them too. I agree, half and half.
And may I just add another comment, since we have this sort of extra pot, could we add another plaque for City Hall?
let's talk about that after we decide on these five.
Oh, okay,
This
okay.
initiated, and then let's have that next discussion right away. Okay?
Well, so do you want to go through these and get comments on
I
the
would
ones?
like to have comments on all of them. I don't actually have a copy, a physical copy, but I can.
Here, do you
take
want
notes.
mine?
We can share.
Alex has it.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sure.
So you may not know that Baltimore Park, Baltimore Canyon is gonna be in Dolliver Park.
Oh,
It's gonna be what?
as a park.
Where the location of each one is, our
Oh,
proposed
So
location.
is it in front of the park when you're first?
Well, it's up to Julian to decide.
Mhm.
That's kind of an evacuation area, you know, where the
Mhm.
safety. So maybe across the street. there's-
People won't
that's
see it there if it's across the street. I think it's having it on the same side as the park might be
Yeah.
better.
Even
There's more foot
Either
traffic.
side, either on the street or on the Baltimore, on the other side.
Well, Julian said,
Yeah, it would
thought
be.
he could work it in there. We just need to have that opening there to get at the equipment that's
Mhm.
stored there.
Ah, okay.
There are two openings, however, in the fence, and he thought it could be at one end on that side, near one of those fences.
Closer toward Magnolia or more
Well,
toward the
I,
canyon?
we didn't get that far with it. There is another sign there that says Dollar Park,
Right.
Yeah,
and you don't want it to conflict with that,
No.
so
Yeah.
it might be a few steps into,
Yeah,
Yeah.
towards.
I think as long as it's along the park.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and because there's so much more, foot traffic on the south side of Baltimore. or
Mhm.
Madrone. Baltimore
Madrone.
Canyon, but Madrone Street,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one there.
Yeah.
Madrone Avenue.
Yeah, So
And
once-
Arroyo Holon.
somewhere. And then boardwalk number one, we were gonna put somewhere in Piper Park, and this is where we have to stay away from the major sewer line,
Okay,
facing the houseboat.
okay.
And we wouldn't want it to conflict with the other signs that are there. So somewhere along that.
Yeah,
When you're go along the pathway in Piper, the first thing that you'll see at beyond the community gardens, as I recall, is a sign that talks about the marsh.
mhm.
And then there's the Sandy Blauvelt and
Bench.
the tree picture. And then you have the cricket shack, whatever they call it, storage area, and we were thinking maybe just beyond that, a little bit farther in,
Okay,
rather than, that way, and because they talked about, didn't Julian talk about another sign for the marsh there as well? I thought
Yeah,
we
that's
meant-
something else was gonna be put
Yeah,
in, so we
so
thought we should be further
more
away.
towards the creek, major, the creek rather than the marsh and the community garden and a little farther out, so we don't have to walk to get to it.
and you can still see the houseboats, I mean, you can see
You
them
can,
practically
yeah.
to the
Yeah,
creek, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the next one is the Corte Madera Creek Art Colony. And we're kind of thinking near the old Safeway site. On,
Mm,
I guess,
Kind of
The
behind
south.
there.
this, well, on Bon Air, on the
Mhm.
street side.
Just before the bridge.
Just
to
before the
right.
bridge.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, that
some
makes sense.
city property there. I mean,
Okay.
a stretch.
So when you say old Safeway site, you're talking closer to the street, not
Yeah,
more on the marsh, because
This
there's
is
a
right
parking
on the
lot.
sidewalk.
yeah, no, on the.
On the sidewalk.
Yeah,
That
near the
goes
bridge.
Across the bridge, and Julian said there's a lot of traffic, there, foot traffic there.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
have
there
a, you have a view of the water.
You
Yeah.
do.
You do. And you see when we're in general areas, because that's what I,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so interesting, that's where the hotel is, I had no
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah.
so,
Really interesting.
One thing I noticed, Marilyn, and, is that you have the same photo for boardwalk number one
Yeah, I
and the Corte
know.
Madera Creek. And, which is fine, because they're in different locations, totally different locations. But I was wondering if there would be a way to add, like, I don't know, like a little dot or something, because it's not really clear what we're looking at in the photo, if there's, because, there's no building, there's nothing. And the shoreline is all we see, but I just wonder if there's a way we could indicate kind of
Where it is.
where the arcs were, or the houseboats in this.
Which one are you looking at?
So boardwalk one and the Corte Madera Creek, the same photograph.
We probably could add an arrow. I'm not, I know on the one that is with the creek and the Bon Air Hotel, the building that is in the far left is Hill's Boathouse. And
Okay, so
it
this
says,
boathouse
it
here.
says Hill's
Yeah.
Boathouse,
So if you
it's a
could have an
long
arrow.
building in the
From here to there,
left foreground.
Yeah,
And then I tried to do an inset of a photo showing Hill's Boathouse from the creek.
right?
Yeah,
Maybe
that's a good
maybe if
one.
there could be an arrow, so it's
I could-
obvious it's from
We
here to
could try
there.
that. I can superimpose an arrow on it. On the photo.
Yeah,
so we don't have another photo that would be different
Well,
from
we
the
have
other.
a different photo that's a good photo, but it doesn't show Hill's Boathouse in it.
Mm,
And it doesn't show the arcs at Boardwalk One in it.
mm.
yeah.
It shows the arcs in between, and it's an aerial photo that we have, that was taken in the 1930s.
Hmm.
So it doesn't quite do it for the Bon Air Hotel Art Colony, because the Hills Boathouse is no longer there in that photo, or else the photo just doesn't show it. I
And what,
guess it was no longer there.
what is there now? Is that further north of where Escali is now, or?
Right now, if you look at this photo, I believe this is, yes, it would be taken from, well, it says it's from Little King Mountain. So you're up on the mountain, whoever was taking the photo,
Looking north.
and they're looking kind of northeast at that point, I guess.
Mhm.
It's not a very clear picture, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I tried, well, you can look at the, I just played around with trying to lighten or darken it. Probably the one on Boardwalk 1 came out better than the one on Boardwalk, on Cordovan Arch Colony.
Yeah, this Boardwalk 1 photo is
That is
fantastic.
fabulous, but
So
where on the map is the arcs of Boardwalk 1 and 2? Do you know where they are placed along here?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
So
Oh,
the,
numbers 1 and 2.
the arcs of Boardwalks 1 and 2, are these all the ones along the waterway? When you look at the,
Well, there were several numbered boardwalks, and they were accessed from Magnolia originally, which is a dirt road by boardwalks going across the marsh.
Wow.
And so,
Is that in here?
I don't know, let's see. There was a wooden boardwalk, the quote at the beginning on the art colony, there was a wooden boardwalk from Magnolia for pedestrians over the creek at Bon Air. We crossed that over to the Bon Air Hotel. Well, there were wooden boardwalks going out to these, several of them, I think. I can work on that. If you look, I didn't bring marks for past and present with me, unfortunately. I should have.
I'm just trying to place where these are.
Yeah.
It's
So-
right here,
So this is land here,
that's land.
and
yeah.
this is creek.
This is creek here,
But it was
That's land.
kind of marshy.
but it's
land.
marsh, yeah. I almost think this is this. Hard to say, just be nice if you could identify where
Should
they
have
are.
a magnifying glass.
I don't know what'll happen when these are blown up and they're twice as big as they are now. Whether
Mhm.
if you'll be able to see them better or not.
Well,
Where'd your photos come from?
Well, they're in the archives. In there,
so the original copy.
The original.
the originals are there.
Would that be something we could send
I
to
was wondering, to the sign company.
Oh,
and have them scan the originals to
The
get
sign
a
company.
good resolution?
Well, these are as good a resolution as you can have. These are TIFF files, and as I understand it, that's as good as they go. And they are quite dark, and I tried to lighten them up using the software we have.
mhm.
I'll play around with them some more, and I also think that the fabricator, I sent him the original files. I'm not, I
Sending him the
I
original.
sent him this, but I also sent him all the original
And so the
photographs
original-
as scanned.
As scanned, but I guess my question is the resolution of the scan, was it done by a city scanner? Was that one that you did, or?
I didn't do the TIFF files, I don't know who did them. Oh,
Okay.
well, I did some files for the book. Gina Vanderveer was our editor putting this whole thing to the book together. And she had told me she wanted them to be done, created as TIFF files, which apparently are high resolution. And that's how I created them for the book. And we could take a look at the photos that are in the files and see how they compare to this.
Because I'm just thinking that was a while ago, and maybe there's a technology that the
Mm,
fabricator
yes,
might
maybe.
have, if they had the original print photos, that maybe they could make it more clear, and of course, they're gonna have to blow it up, probably triple the size, or double the size at least.
Well, let's see. what
I mean,
we
not
can-
for all of them necessarily, but I think like just looking at this map of the creek, where you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I looking at? Where are the houses? Where's the boardwalk? Where's Magnolia? You're trying to orient yourself in the photograph.
There's another problem, Hillary, which we don't know. And that is the Army Corps of Engineers moved the creek bed.
Oh, wow, okay,
You know, the restoring part of it now by College of Marin.
yeah.
They came through and they straightened out the creek. So I have no idea where this houseboats
Yeah, it
When you
might
look at
not,
this,
might not be
were
this.
compared to what you're looking at in the creek now.
Right, so these houseboats, the ones that are out there now, like Sandy's houseboat, and
Right.
those were originally someplace else.
No,
They were actually in that
they
spot,
were in that location.
okay.
What,
but the creek may have changed.
well, what happened is back in the, I have it a little bit in this Boardwalk One discussion. Um, Boardwalk One is the last survivor of the 4 hospital colonies. A questionable opportunity for residents to acquire ownership in 1939 spared Boardwalk One from demolition in 1965. So 65 was probably when the Army Corps of Engineers came through before my time here and straightened the creek. And so they are in the location where they were. But the rest of these, the creek isn't in that location anymore. So
So the arc of the boardwalk probably changed, like those closer in probably were original location. But as you move further toward the creek, maybe those changed, or were they always
well,
on this?
this Heister came through, Shyster came through, and he told the people he was selling them the land under their arms. But he didn't have right to do that. That's the story. And so all these people said, but I have a deed, I have a deed. And I guess rather than having an uprising of all of the people on the boardwalk, they just let it be and let them stay.
Let them
And
stay.
a lot of them originally were floating, and then they gradually started putting piers down in the mud and to stabilize them. And I have no idea how they're stabilized today,
Yeah.
but they must have piers down into the muck that goes down into something semi-solid down low.
I wonder if it might take a little bit more research before we put it into the plaque, just to make sure that we're clear on maybe the location of the boardwalk related to Corte Madera Creek, but you say it hasn't changed. Boardwalk One is it's in its original spot.
1 and 2,
One,
this one.
the rest were torn down.
That two's done.
The only other one is the Green Bay boardwalk on the other side of the freeway.
Right.
Could we date this picture?
Well, let's see, is it not?
Mm-mm.
Not really,
Oh, well, let me add that.
because
Yes,
that might give people the idea that it's changed.
on the other one, it says 1910. I left that out on the boardwalk.
Oh, I
one.
see it, yeah.
Is this the same year?
Yeah, it's the same.
Same
It's the
photo.
same.
Same photo.
Same photo.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I was looking at this other one.
I'll add that.
Yeah,
See, that's what I need good eyes to catch these things.
okay.
Is that me?
That- The one that says Greenberry Bonnier Hill, that's a little hard to, you'd have to have walked out there. If you drive all the way to all the apartments and kind of dead end in a little path, but you can't drive on it anymore.
Yeah.
Out in that area is where this Greenberry Bonnier Hill one. Maybe. There's some picnic tables out there.
Is it
You
down
would
by
have
the
to
water?
Yeah,
Or
it's
no?
adjacent to the water,
Adjacent to the water. I've been down there.
yeah.
But-
You started Midland Park and you walk till you come to the Bonnier Road.
Right.
Yes,
We can only put the markers on the creek side of that pathway. If we wanted to put it on the other side, we'd have to get permission from the
Yeah,
homeowners association.
Yeah.
Interesting. But you know, the creek side is better anyway, because you're gonna be
I agree.
looking at the creek.
mhm.
I know the focus is on the hill, but,
Well, you see the creek there still.
yeah, but this is taken from a higher vantage
Right,
point.
right.
This, I mean, is this photograph taken from the north side of Sir Francis Drake? Like that part of
It
Greenbury?
looks like it.
Looks like
Yeah.
it, yeah.
And then we talked about the Remillard location on
Mhm.
the ferry
It's like
side.
my
of St.
Remillard
Francis
when it
Drake.
got cut off in the reproduction.
And this is the hand-drawn map that,
Yeah, I thought it was great.
It is
Yeah.
great, yeah, I liked it.
one other tiny thing that I'd like to add, if there's space, and I don't wanna get it too cluttered, but one of the things, ever since we moved to Larkspur, and my husband and his friends and people that we know have come to visit us, everybody talks about Dirty Harry. And how they filmed back in the old mill quarry,
Hutchinson Court.
Hutchinson Quarry.
Oh,
And I remember the trestle that went across Sir Francis
They
Drake.
took that down now.
Yeah, they took it down, but, I don't know if there's a way to mention that or acknowledge that, because that is something that's interesting for people, and I don't know. This is
Why?
not in that location per se, but,
I researched in terms of looking for a photo in our archives. Specifically about the movie, and we have not.
you
So
know,
we don't have permission for any photos at this point that would have anything having to do with the movie. We do have a couple of photos of the quarry itself as an operational quarry that are taken from the Greenbury side where the houses are now, on the other side of the freeway, looking down into the quarry,
oh,
that shows the quarry.
yeah, yeah,
But that would almost beg for another
Fine.
marker to talk about the Hutchinson Quarry if we wanted to add a photo. There isn't enough room on the
yeah.
Remillard one.
And I don't know that the Hutchison Quarry and Dirty Harry deserves its own marker.
it might be a select group.
I mean, some
Yeah.
people might like that, but I don't know that it needs its.
Well,
own.
the QR code could be, if someone wanted to
Right,
listen.
there you go.
Do
Yeah,
something.
And additional information.
Yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, you could even just put a sentence here, like, in 1972 or 1977, the Clint Eastwood movie Dirty Harry was filmed at the current Larkspur Landing location. If you want to see the picture of the quarry as it was at that time, check the QR. I mean, maybe just one sentence in there.
Well, if you want to send me something you'd like to add, we can
Okay.
figure out where we might do it. I had a little, I'm not great at trying to figure out the composition, and I didn't want to break up the quote from one to the other, and
right.
I can see that things aren't lined up here. Actually, it's interesting when I went to, sometimes when I save this, things I create that are in this Word knockoff that I get for free. And I convert it to Word, it changes. There
The
is,
format?
yeah, the formats
Mm.
change, and I was having trouble with that. And I got frustrated, so you can tell that, like, obviously, you should line up at the top. You know, the heading on the left column should be with the right column. And there's enough space at the bottom for that to have happened, so. But we really didn't have any other photos of that area except of Pierre Remillard himself.
Oh,
There is a photo, but I didn't see that there was enough room to include that if we were going to include all the information about the community that lived there. So
The map's fabulous, It's a really interesting map.
it's really quite a fun thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's so cool that, now, did they, mine the clay for the kiln nearby this spot?
Here,
Is
as far as
that
I
mentioned?
know. They were digging it out of the,
it says from local clay.
From local clay? So it
I
would have
think
been
if
from
you
that
look at
hill.
the little map, you'll probably, I can't read it, it's too small.
It's too small, I can't read it either.
Yeah,
There was another Remillard brick factory down in the south, they like San Jose or
Oh,
someplace like
I
that.
didn't know
too.
that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But if you want to send me changes,
Okay,
I'm happy to see them.
yeah, we'll take a look at,
Okay.
we'll
I
go
wrote
out
down
over.
about adding the date and the resolution on the photos and,
And maybe pinpointing what we're looking at with the creek in relation to the boardwalk number 1,
arrows
arrows.
there
on. So, Hillary, you mentioned having another marker for City Hall, and I was talking to Lilia about that, and it came to the conclusion, probably the only place for it would be above the wall, kind of on the, before you get to the steps.
Or the drinking
Kind
fountain.
of by the drinking fountain in that area, and that might be a possibility if we'd be wanting to ask Public Works about. And I don't know if the fact that they want to do major renovation here is something they might not want us.
They might not want to do it until afterwards.
Yeah.
It, we could always order them one by one too.
Yeah.
The company seems quite amenable to.
But we don't know when the renovation would be starting, and I just think that I'm assuming that if they need to move one of the plaques, if they're gonna go into that major renovation, there's gonna be a lot of construction, so they could probably pull it up and put it in storage.
Yeah, I don't know how if they're sinking these metal things in.
Might be something
concrete.
to ask Julian about, because in my opinion, I think it would be good to have one of these right in front of City Hall. And there's so much great history in this building, and starting from its creation. And we've got a great resource. Do you have a copy of Dick Cunningham's pamphlet that he wrote on City Hall?
I don't think I have.
I'll drop one off for you.
Oh,
Yeah, I've got some.
oh, okay.
But it's just so, I mean, it was the League of Women Voters that basically funded this building. And so I think just having something as people are still coming to the library, still coming and like picnicking in the front lawn, I saw some people there, stroller library things. I just think this is a way to, part of the campaign to sort of raise the consciousness of this building and how important it is. And I mean, I don't know as far as if and when construction starts, what they would do with the plaque, but they could probably just keep it there and preserve it, even while the building's under
It
construction.
could be, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know what,
It might be tricky with all
Getting
the
things in and out.
ADA and
Yeah.
other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's-
Yeah. But we'll ask
it's a
Julian about
discussion,
that.
yeah, you asked, have this discussion.
Okay.
I had a discussion with Lilia this week, we were talking about maybe having markers that designate the historic district.
Yeah, I was thinking that would be good
So
too.
she and I met,
Yes.
here's the quiz for you two, do you know where Doherty Park is?
I don't know the name.
I know where
Anyway,
Drive
Doherty
is.
Park
It's
is the
adjacent.
one by the gas station at Lucky Plaza, that's called Doherty Park.
Oh, where the Miwok stone is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
uh,
that's a park.
That's a domain.
Yes, anyway,
Yeah.
I had told, Lelia, I said, I'll meet you at Dorgan Park, and she said, where's that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't
I
know that
wouldn't
was
know that
private
either. I
park.
would have said the gas station, meet me at the gas station.
Anyway, she and I kind of walked around and we were thinking that this is an idea that occurred to us, is that there are these two kind of modernistic, I can't remember which more modern sculptor it is, but anyway, benches that are in concrete there that are rather incongruous for the setting. And we were thinking, if you sit down, you look up and you can see the old buildings at the north end of the historic district across the street, the theater being the first one, and then the next buildings.
Yeah.
And we were thinking it might be nice to have a marker right there. And we were also talking about the idea of maybe asking Park and Rec about getting rid of those two benches and then putting in benches honoring Helen Heitkamp and Nancy Curley there.
You know, there's some
Ones-
bench,
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
the
and
benches,
we
yeah.
get the benches that Park and Rec has been putting in, and there's another one there, that's for Jim Lang. He was a city hall worker who passed away in 2012. And, well, he was in Public Works, I think, wasn't he? Anyway, Public Works, and his wife worked here in City Hall, and there's a bench for him there. And then there's a flagpole that's there that's no longer used, maybe they could remove the flagpole.
the trees
trees-
are too big.
It's in the
so you can't
trees, in
get
the
it.
tree,
Yeah.
you couldn't put a flag there if you tried.
Yeah.
So we were thinking that might be an enhancement to discuss with Park and Rec,
Yeah.
and both adding the marker for the historic district and then changing out the benches there.
Yeah.
And then it occurred to me today, we were talking about a place at the south end, and there is a discussion about taking the empty parking lot that's across the street at Arch Street Steps and making that into a mini park. And the Community Foundation is having that discussion with Park and Rec. And that might be one location for another marker, but the other place that might work as well would be just on the other side of the little bridge over the creek here, where there's a big tree and there's a chair, a redwood chair there.
Yeah.
It could be a marker talking about the historic
Oh,
district
yeah.
right there.
Yeah, that's a good
It's just a
location.
big empty corner.
Yeah, that's a good
And people
location.
congregate there during 4th of July
Mm-hmm.
parade.
So those
Yeah.
were another couple, those were some other ideas there. So we actually have 3 ideas for more markers now.
So, yeah,
What's the Miwok marker? I mean,
Well,
Well, nothing's happened on yet.
you want the
unfortunately.
story I have on that?
oh, do you have an update? Did you talk to Rich?
Well, I guess Lilia talked to Rich. And because she called me and gave me the name of a man named Jason Deschler. And asked me to call him because she was leaving for the Dolomites. So I called him and
And Rich gave me that.
he's apparently the group, part of the group who believes they are the representatives of the Coast Miwok. And I had not a terribly pleasant conversation with him. It was sort of like, well, if you want to put up some signage, then do you want to, this is what he said to me, are you going to put up the true history? And I thought, uh-oh. And I explained to him this was to talk about, the people who have settled here over time. Miwok has settled here. And then he started talking about the true history again, and then I said, well, anything that goes up is, first and foremost, has to go through the city attorney, because I know that the city's gonna review anything that goes up on its land. And we kind of left it that he would call me the next time he was in town, because he doesn't live in this area. So I've never heard from him again. But then I had a conversation with Catherine Way very briefly. And she said the Rancho, the Grayton Rancheria is the federally designated representative for this area. And I thought, oh, I'm backing off this one big time. I'm not getting into this at all.
Tribes, you're getting into the tribes, yeah.
Yeah,
So that ended my conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else wants to have that conversation, but it will not be me.
It's really too bad, because I think what we're trying to do is very, not innocuous, but it's informative, but it's not controversial, it's not anything that's
I
going
agree.
to ruffle feathers
Mhm.
in any way, it's just acknowledging, it's just like where every time you go to an opening of some ceremony, there's an acknowledgement of the indigenous people. And I think this whole Great Rancheria and then the Coast Miwok people, there's like this quarrel between them, and I don't understand it completely, but I wrote something and I approached the Great Rancheria people and they were like, oh, well, that is not necessarily the truth. And I said, well, that came up the Coast Miwok website, and they said, oh, that's not a vetted source. And I was thinking, okay, but it's in the public now. So who decides how to tell the story, right? Who gets to tell the story? And it's not gonna be us,
no,
the Heritage Board.
well, we do have, this made me feel better, I told them, the stone,
Mhm.
it mentions Coast Miwok. So we have acknowledged that, that they are here.
Yeah.
It's not one of our markers, but it's that
Right,
Yeah.
but
stone.
You also
thing.
can't read it because nobody maintains it. and It's,
And nobody knows it's there.
right.
No,
So, I mean,
but maybe we've done our duty.
if somebody were to go out and pressure
Polish
wash it and polish it, people would read it. But it right now it has that, the copper is coming through and it's green and you can't read. I went over there the other day.
yeah.
My eyesight isn't that bad. I could not read it without it was only great difficulty.
Alex, could we ask that the Public Works clean that? Do you know the stone we're talking about at what used to be Lucky Shopping Center and the green area there?
Not specifically, but I know the area you're talking about, so.
There's a stone there with a bronze marker on it.
Okay.
Or brass, bronze, whatever. Anyway, and it was put up in 1972 by the Larkspur Heritage something. And it talks about, to start with, it acknowledges respectfully the Coast Miwok, and then it talks about, I don't remember what else, I took a picture of it.
Maybe the vicar staff.
It needs polishing, Alex.
Yeah,
That's what the comment was.
well, and just a side comment, nothing historical, but they can't use that flagpole. It's kind of useless.
So this is the,
Needs
There it
a
is.
revision over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a
the
nice
sun was
little
in there.
area.
It is.
Surprised
Right
about the
down
amount of the other
by-
end of the park,
opposite the gym
That that could be a part too.
The gym lamp.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
bench.
There's a bus stop there too.
Yeah,
right?
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
It'd be a good marketplace.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah. Right, because
Because there's bus stops right there.
We're walking up the
Exactly.
stairs.
Exactly.
Then going up to Bottom Canyon, hiking, people go
Yeah.
by there all the time.
Yeah,
So that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
This is
So you'll
great.
get back to me with your, any
Comments.
ideas, I wrote
Okay.
things down here on my. here.
So you're leaving November 2nd, so we can reach out to you directly. And that's okay, Alex, right? Any edits that we have. Is your email on here or, I mean, I know I have your email, but Carol, do you have it?
I'm gonna wait till after the meeting, so her email
Oh, right,
Sure,
okay,
everyone.
okay,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
fine.
is- Does he?
That's true.
So, two quick things. Are we moving on now from this business item?
Before we
Alex?
move on, I just want to show you, I've been working just very briefly on the plaque page.
Oh, wow.
So feel free to, as you visit it and want changes, let me know.
Look at that.
You put them up.
Yeah, so
Oh my
it's got
gosh.
just a brief description at the top here, and then this is a slideshow. I think maybe I need to change the settings so it doesn't rotate so fast. and then links to the actual full-size static images below.
You just did that. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really website, it's pretty easy, so.
This is from the QR code.
Yeah, actually, I just tried it on my phone while we were sitting here, so it'll take you to, I'll make sure, this is the editing page, so show you what it looks like if you actually get over there, but. It's not as smooth on the screen share as it is if you were to visit on your own computer, but. Yeah, so the
That's great.
QR codes will take you
Yeah.
there, feel free to.
Thank you.
Great.
And there's going to be a map.
Know how to do it.
Yeah, I will figure out. Kind of toy with that one while we we're
Thank you.
sitting here. I wasn't having much luck.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Alex,
don't
that's
know that
impressive.
addresses would help. Maybe in some cases, but you know, they're not all at a specific
Yeah,
address.
if you have any addresses or something like that way. Anyway,
Well, the
yeah,
map you
whatever
sent
locations you've got.
The map you sent the people who installed the plaques would probably be really useful for you.
That'd be good. Yeah, and then I might be able to work with that.
Mhm.
All right, so, Marilyn, did you want to take a stab at text for City Hall? And I'll get you the brochure that Dick wrote.
Okay,
And let's see, so speaking of City Hall, Alex, was there any update or consensus on the two meetings that we had here, the September 22nd and October 7th?
You know, I have to confess, I went not up to date on the
Okay.
details of those meetings, but I can certainly find out and let you know. I don't think there's been anything other than doing a little outreach. There's been no decisions or further discussion.
Okay,
But the architects have been hired that are going to revamp it.
So I think it's still just with Page and Turnbull, who's did the background report. I don't think there's been any actual move. They're still waiting to decide on, because they have these three options of
Oh, which
5 to 10 year
option?
solution, 10 to 20, 50 plus.
Mhm.
So none of that has been decided upon by the city council.
Oh.
So once that gets figured out, then there would be a more formal concrete process with an actual architect and an engineering team.
Is it gonna be coming up on an agenda for the city council, or are they just sort of waiting for staff to bring it up?
I think they wanted to conduct outreach, and then it would be back on a city council agenda if they were to make any decision on which avenue they wanted to select for the future of the structure here. So it's certainly would be, held at a public meeting with input. I'm not sure quite exactly what the timeline is. I'm not anticipating it coming back in the very near future. Just I think given the
Nothing's
Terry.
falling down right now, in other words.
as long as there's no earthquakes.
I was just gonna say,
that's my prayer.
so I have another question for you, Alex. The Acacia Steps and that whole south part, the bike path in Baltimore, West Baltimore. Did we get the historic report on that?
I actually really had called me this afternoon. So I sent an email to the consultant, just asking for an update, because I know they were working on, they're finishing their report and they had reached out to, I forget the name, but like an archive of the state that might have some information on the steps and the history there. And I think there was a bit of a waiting process for them to get the information.
Okay.
So I think it was a few weeks, but we may have just come to the end of that. So I've emailed them as of
Okay,
a couple of hours ago. So I should hear back probably tomorrow or Monday.
and it's Garavalia that's doing the report?
Yeah.
Okay, so once we get that, the next step would be to fold it into Parks and Rec or Public Works to see not only the repair of the steps, the historic steps themselves, but how that can relate to the rest of the park area, because now we have a plaque there. And that's such a heavy trafficked area, and I just think that this is an opportunity to try and get in some public funding too. There's people standing by who really want to see this spruced up. And I mean, so we just have to make it happen.
Yeah, I think, when we're talking about work to clean and rehab the steps, that is a, I don't wanna minimize it, but a smaller discussion, something
Right.
between the board and public works. When we
Right.
start talking about work to the, the greater trail and surrounding areas, that will be a much bigger item that I think, yeah, we'd have to explore.
Okay,
Partner.
so maybe you could help with that, because my neighbors keep asking me about it, and I think they're feeling like they want to write some checks. And it's been a while that the city's been kind of like, yes, but we need to do this first. We need to get the report done, and so maybe you could give me advice or just what I could tell them as far as, because you're right, it is bigger than just the steps.
Well, isn't that the plan, to make it a little mini park there? That's what one lady was telling me. What is the plan?
But I don't know that there is a plan.
Well, just in their minds.
Yeah, it's a discussion, but it's sort of, it was spearheaded because of the steps,
Mhm.
but it's so much bigger than just that one item.
Yeah, I would encourage your neighbors to put their thoughts on down in an email and send it to me, and then I can work with the city manager to kind of address, potential next steps, because right now it's sort of nebulous.
Right.
Improvements that we're discussing.
Okay.
So I think the first step, other than getting this report from the consultant, would be to, what are we looking at here? And figure it out.
And it may be sitting down with maybe Dan Schwartz or Julie and neighbor representatives, but I mean, I'm just concerned mainly with the historic part of it and making sure the steps are taken care of.
Were people envisioning having a, more than just a passive, sprucing it up and having a passive area there?
I
I
don't
haven't
know.
talked to anybody about it.
Yeah, it's Jill Sellers and Tricia Lacey. And I don't know that there is a specific idea. I think they were sort of thinking like there were a lot of trees that were cut down, so there are a lot of branches that were kind of on the side, and it just kind of seemed a little run down, that part, and it's kind of a gateway, like on the pathway into Larkspur. And so they were saying this could be a really nice area. I don't know if they were imagining benches or tables or a streetlight or what have you.
Well, maybe you could encourage them to be more formal
Yeah.
in what
Okay.
they're thinking of.
Okay. And in the meantime, we'll get that historic report and we can take care. Now, that might cost some money too, to have those steps repaired. Would that be Public Works that would pay for that, or?
Yeah, that will be kind of, once we hear back from the consultant on exactly what's needed, it's figuring out if that fits within the scope of public
Okay.
versus, certain already established staff tasks, or if they need some extra money for whatever is going to be suggested.
So that would probably not come out of our little heritage pot. I'm hoping. Okay,
Remains to be seen probably, but they did do the path adjacent to them for like wheelchairs and that. That
Yeah,
was
they
a
always go
handicap.
clean the ADA route
Yeah,
along there, but I asked some of the workers that were out there, it's pretty much just light sweeping every so often. Of the
Yeah.
Well, they cut back the branches that were overhanging, just seemed like today almost. I was walking, I don't know when they cut them down, but they were, the platform, the walkway that's on the east side going towards town. I could actually walk the full length of it this afternoon, and it seemed like the last time I did it, my hair was hitting things. And I
Yeah,
had to go off into the
right.
right-of-way, the railroad right-of-way.
and I think kind of to that point, one of the recommendations I think they're gonna put in there is that some of the trees and stumps and whatnot are removed, because the
That's a good
roots are
idea.
gonna start to pull up a lot of those
Mhm.
those stones.
Oh, probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alex. All right, so I think that's everything for tonight. If there's anything else, I think I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. I motion that we adjourn.
Seconded,
Okay, all in favor?
aye,
Okay, meeting adjourned.
all right.
Thank you.